What's up, and welcome to the DualSense podcast for episode 146. I am one of your co hosts, Jason, and I'm joined, as always, by your other co host, who is calling himself tonight Installed Driver. And I don't think that's a Gran Turismo reference, but he also goes by Travis. Travis, what's Gucci?
I've been doing a lot of farts today.
Yeah, me too. My wife commented earlier because I came home and I did like a half squat and farted, which is risky, right? Because
Why'd you have squat? Are you a child? Is your
I mean,
diaper full?
it's risky, right? You could shit your pants, of course. You could shart, but she's like, "Why do you move when you fart to like let farts out?" And I was like, "Well, sometimes you just got to get pressure in the right spot to just let it, get it on out." You know what I'm saying?
Why are women so bad at farting?
I don't know. I want to know why they pretend like they don't fart.
I don't know either. I mean, there's like a legit thing. Have you noticed that like the loud farts never smell, but it's the really quiet ones that do? I think there's
Yeah,
something to that. I'm not sure what though.
yeah. There's some type of chemistry to that. Like the quieter and the
Mhm.
warmer that they are on your butt cheeks when they come out, they're gonna stink for
Also, I
sure.
feel like if you have a fatter ass, your farts are louder because you're more can vibrate. Is that real?
You got more real estate to reverberate off of.
That's what I'm thinking. I think that's a thing.
Yeah. I will say though, I have validated your theory that what's that theory you have about if they something like if they don't smell or something or how do you know if they're gonna smell or not? What's your theory on that?
I don't know. I thought you were talking about my theory that every girl with a fat ass likes donuts. uh,
No, you have this theory about oh my god, I wish I could remember it now, but you told me one time you're like, it's not gonna stink, it's just air, or something like that.
oh yeah, because I feel like you swallow a lot of air,
Yeah, yeah,
or if you drink
yeah.
a lot of like carbonated stuff, it's not gonna. It's just air. It's not really. It's a fart, but it's not. It's like a ass burp.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. You told me one time, and I have proven this to be true. You told me one time that if you fart and it stinks, it means you have to poop. And
Oh,
I can confirm that if you fart and it stinks, it means you're cooking up a
Mhm.
nice poop.
Yeah, because like my thought process is that when the air is moving through your intestines, if there's no poop there, why would it smell? It doesn't pick it up on the way.
I mean, it makes sense. It adds up.
Uh, yeah, okay.
Scientific as hell right there.
This is stuff I think about when my wife probably thinks I'm thinking about hot women. I'm over there deciphering the anatomy of a fart.
It's like that meme where the guy's in bed, he's rolled over and the wife's like looking at him. She's like, I bet he's thinking about other women. It's like the bubble over Travis's head. I wonder if I fart in the air. I wonder in the air in my intestines passes a turd if that's why my fart stinks. That's the
Yep.
bubble over Travis in the meme.
Mm.
Anyway, guys, believe it or not, we're a PlayStation podcast, not a flatulence podcast where Travis and I get together each and every week to discuss news, rumors, new game releases, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We do it all in under 90 minutes, and we post new episodes on Monday on all of the usual podcast services, as well as YouTube, where you can get the shows each week as well, in addition to gameplay videos that we post. We're also on social media. You can find us primarily on the Twitter, where we go by at the DualSense Pod, but we're also on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, we post virtual photography from in-game photo modes. We also have a website. It's the dualsensepodcast.wordpress.com. We post the episodes there every week, as well as show notes. Our pictures are there, our bios. So please seek us out and hit us up. Chat PlayStation with us, like several of you do. And without further ado or further flatulence, well, can't really promise that. Let's get into the PlayStation news for the week, starting with number one. We've been hearing for a while now about PlayStation's desire and intent to tap into the live service video game market, with the company revealing to investors last year that it has plans to bring 12 live service games to market by its fiscal year ending March 2026. So I think that means by April of 2025. It's undoubtedly a massive shift in vision for a company that has established itself as one of the dominant forces in single player video games. Even so, with service games and add on content revenue soaring in recent years, the move does bear some weight. This week, head of PlayStation Studios Hermen Hulst gave an interview to website Games Industry in which he outlined the platform holder's strategy moving forward. Holst intimated that they're not just trying to churn out Fortnite and Destiny style games, saying, quote, "We understand the competitive environment that is out there and the time investment from players that live services offer. and we want to deliver the highest quality games, ellipsis. There's a risk that we talk about quote unquote live service in generic terms as if it is a single genre or even a single business model. PlayStation Studios are making a variety of games that could be referred to as live services, targeting different genres, different release schedules, and at different scales. Ellipsis. We're also creating games for different audiences, and I take confidence from our track record in creating worlds and stories that PlayStation fans love. End quote. Of course, Hulst remarks come on the heels of last week's news that PlayStation has acquired developer Firewalk Studios, who itself is working on a multiplayer live service game. In the interview, Hulst only confirmed that PlayStation has 10 service games, in the works at the moment, including a few that we know about and the others that have leaked. The biggest in the near term will be The Last of Us multiplayer, but there's also online action RPG Wayfinder from Airship Syndicate, Firewall Ultra from First Contact Entertainment, a fantasy combat co op game from London Studios, a AAA multiplayer title from Haven Studios, and an unannounced shooter from Deviation Games. A few other leaked or potential live service games are Helldivers 2 from Arrowhead Game Studios, a Twisted Metal reboot from Prior Sprite, and whatever the hell Media Molecule is working on at the moment. So, what do you make of the big live service push here and what Herman had to say?
God, that is the longest story you've ever had.
Thank
That
you.
is so long.
Thank you. Are you still awake?
Yeah, I am, barely. So what is the ultimate like, if you're talking about the ultimate live service game for PlayStation, would it not be a single player quality that they're known for, but is also a live service? You know what I mean? Like, just a
Yeah.
awesome story narrative that it keeps building on itself.
I think you just described The Last of Us multiplayer, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, see, like that's what I'm thinking. They'll have at least a couple of those. So they're taking what they're good at and applying this interesting model that, we've complained about and also like when it works.
Mhm.
What I think is interesting is when he says that they're creating these live services at different scales. Like, what does that mean?
Right.
Because obviously The Last of Us would be the largest scale. Like, you can't get any bigger with that IP in a multiplayer. Like, what could be bigger than that, right?
Right.
But what does a small thing look like? Like, that's what I think's kind of odd. Like, we're gonna have like a indie level game that's live service. How would that work? Like, why would you put
Mhm.
that much time and effort into something with 10,000 people that play it? Like, it just
Right.
seems interesting. So that
I agree.
that part of it is, that part's really interesting to me. But PlayStation has been talking about for years about expanding their portfolio, and we've seen that with movies and TV shows in the last 12 or 18 months.
Mm.
This just seems like another kind of feather in that kind of hat. Just, okay, cool. We're great at single player. Our shows are doing well.
Right.
We have a big Gran Turismo movie coming. The Uncharted movie did well. Okay, cool. Seems like, the live service would be right in that wheelhouse. So makes sense to me. But I think the more we know about what's coming out, the kind of a better opinion I'll have of it. But you know, all these freaking studios that keep getting getting a hold of
Mhm.
makes me feel like they're gonna have some bangers. But like 12's a lot. 12's a lot.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird to me that he said 10 when we know
Right.
previously in their financial reporting they've said 12, but maybe that just means that there's 10 that are being actively worked on and 2 more that are percolating, kind of maybe concept phase or something like that. Very possible. The really intriguing thing to me about this is that I don't think we're going to have to well, one of the things is that I don't think we're going to have to wait for much longer to find out about some of these. I think that 2 or 3 of these will be shown at the PlayStation Showcase, that the rumored PlayStation Showcase, I guess I should say. But one of the things that kind of stood out to me, like it did to you, was what he means by different scales, different business models, even because
Right.
he referred to people thinking of live service of these single business models where you just have these free games and they have these season passes and shit. So to me, I kind of read into that as, hey, maybe The Last of Us multiplayer is not a free to play game. Maybe it is a $70 game, but
Hmm.
we're going to support it with content for years to come that you can pay $10 for a season pass on top of it. I don't know. Would that turn people off if you had to pay $70 for The Last of Us factions and then buy a battle pass every year? I don't
We
know
could.
because people do it with Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, but that would be cool. I mean, that's it has to be what it is.
Yeah. I think that is one of PlayStation's IP that you could actually do that and get away with because and you may want to if you think about it this way, like The Last of Us is arguably PlayStation's most valuable IP now,
Mhm,
considering how many copies the game has sold, what the HBO show has done, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. I think that if you we've had the conversation before of if you put a game out there and it's free to download, you say something about the value proposition that maybe it's not a premium release, right? And maybe it's just something that you try out. But if you come out and you say, "This is The Last of Us Factions," it's $70. It's got narrative content. You're gonna co-op it with a friend. It's gonna be a division style PvE VP shit. We're gonna be constantly giving it content every 4 months, whatever, so on and so forth. You can get the ultimate edition for $100 and get all of the year one of content included. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
you see games do that now. Call of Duty, Diablo 4 is about to do it. EA games do it. Like it's nothing new. So anyway, I take from that him saying that that it's not one single business model. What I read into that is that hey, there's a possibility that some of these service games, and probably a very good likelihood that they're going to cost money. They're going to be full price releases.
Mhm.
But on the flip side of that, to your point, I do find it possibly more fascinating to think about what they could do on the other end of that scale. Like you said, what if they make an indie sports game? Like, what if they do like an indie like kart racer that's PlayStation characters and it's free to play? And you know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds
Y
kind of neat.
Yeah,
Like,
but you
instead
could
of,
have fun with the you could have fun with the life service, like,
Mhm.
I think maybe we miss out on that sometimes, like, even if it's like, taking your example of a kart racer, and then you could throw in, like, like a Formula 1 driver, like Lewis Hamilton could be a character you could have, or,
Sure.
like, just different things that are more interesting maybe on a smaller scale,
Mhm.
like, I don't really know what you could or couldn't do, but it just
Yeah.
seems like a lot of people, they're like, "We're doing a live service," and then it just seems like it goes the way of Marvels.
Right. No, I think you're also hitting on something else that we could possibly see because you talked about how we have TV shows, we have movies coming. Like, imagine if you have a kart racer, you have a Gran Turismo car, and then all of a sudden you have an animated like David Harbour from the Gran Turismo movie as a playable character
Mhm.
in the kart racing game, just as an example. Or, you get Tom Holland, Nathan Drake as a skin in the kart racer, and he's driving the Jeep Grand Wagon across the favela in Uncharted 4. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think you're touching on some stuff that's all possibilities. And if they're not doing that already, I think they need to call me and you, and we'll sort it out for them. Number 2, in a surprise move, Sony has apparently shut down PlayStation first-party developer PixelOpus, the team behind a 2019's Concrete Genie for PS4, and also the team behind Entwined, which came to Vita and I think PS3. On Friday, the studio shared a tweet with the news saying, quote, "Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end. As we look to new futures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who have supported us in our mission to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart." End quote. Sony also released a statement to IGN after being reached for comment, and they said, quote, PlayStation Studios regularly evaluates its portfolio and the status of studio projects to ensure they meet the organization's short and long term strategic objectives. As part of a recent review process, it has been decided that Pixel Opus will close on June 2nd. Pixel Opus is based in San Mateo, California, alongside PlayStation's headquarters. It was officially established in 2014 as an in-house studio by Sony Interactive Entertainment, but prior to that was an experiment by Sony's Foster City studio, which is now known as San Mateo Studio, where they hired 6 students from Carnegie Mellon University, 3 from San Jose State University, and creative director Dominic Robilliard, whatever, to develop indie style games akin to Journey, which itself was published by PlayStation's Sony Santa Monica studio and was a massive hit. In 2021, PixelOpus was hiring for a PS5 project that was said to be a collaboration between them and Sony Pictures Animation, being built on Unreal Engine 5. Okay, so Sony, after acquiring studios here in the last couple of years, have shut one down. What do you make of this?
I mean, if you're acquiring a bunch, eventually some will not make it.
Hmm.
Just based on my experience in working, having a job, I would say that
Whoa.
I'm surprised. I would be surprised if Pixel Opus was shocked. Like they probably had some hints that they needed to hit a couple of benchmarks or reach a couple of markers, or it wasn't going to work out for them. Typically, you don't just get shoveled out in the middle of nowhere. So
Yeah.
I would say that they probably knew this was coming. I don't even what was Journey? I don't even remember. It's familiar.
Yeah. Journey's a wonderful game. It's about you're like a, I don't even, you're a person, you're like going across the desert and it's about life and death and stuff. You never played it, but it's widely held as one of the best indie games ever.
Okay, and then now they're shut down,
No,
so that worked
no,
out.
no, 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 no. They did not make that game. They just were,
Oh,
they
oh,
came along.
it was akin, akin. I
Yeah,
see, I
yeah,
see, I
yeah.
see.
PlayStation published Journey, and then they were like, "Oh shit, this is big. Let's get a studio together to start making games like this." And then here we are.
Yeah. So again, maybe that's a bad move by them. Like, like we know what I mean. Like you don't hire a guy
Yeah,
and be like, "Hey, make a Scorsese movie." But
right.
anyway, it's a cool idea. Like I like the idea that they hired these random people and put together a director that people are relatively familiar with and went for it. Like that's a pretty cool idea. I like that they have enough money and enough kind of balls to try that. It just, doesn't
Mm.
work sometimes.
I'm a little disappointed by this because, well, first of all, I don't like to see a studio close down, but secondarily, like, you got to think that there was a good chance that they were about to reveal whatever they were working on. It's been 4 years since their last game, and I think they were probably, well, I'm assuming that they were getting close to reveal, but maybe not. Maybe that's part of the problem that they had, you know, been working on something for 4 years and had nothing to show for it potentially. I mean, of course, I'm just speculating, but there's also a possibility, like you said, that PlayStation saw what they were working on and didn't like it. And they're like, no, we're good. But I guess my biggest point to make with it is that kind of what we were touching on just a minute ago about what can Sony do at the smaller end, the more indie end, if you will, of the live service scale. And I think that PlayStation needs to also have some experiences like that. They need, a team or two that is working on some of the smaller games. I always think of things like what EA Originals does and what Ubisoft used to do with some of their smaller, like Valiant Hearts. That's a Ubisoft
Right.
game. But they got a small team together. They let them make Valiant Hearts. They got a small team together and made Child of Light. And then EA does that too with like a game called Lost in Random, and then they do that It Takes Two game, and I can't remember the other one that the crazy ass guy from the Game Awards made before that, but oh, A Way Out. You know what I'm saying? Like they we
Hmm.
kind of incubated these smaller projects, and I think PlayStation still needs to do some of that stuff, but it doesn't appear that they are. So anyway, RIP to Pixel Opus. Number 3, we also have a bunch of news nuggets as well. Feel free to jump in here. First nugget, Travis, not on your list. It's a late ad here. But the Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, David Zaslav, I believe is his name, he revealed at their earnings call recently that they potentially could have a Superman video game in the works. He referenced that they have a Superman movie coming out in a couple of years. He was talking about how they have all these IP, like Hogwarts Legacy, because we're going to talk about that in just a moment, is doing very well. And essentially, he was saying that they have control of these IP and they want to create these universes that people can like absorb the IP. He
Huh?
specifically like absorb content for these different IPs.
Oh, you mean like I'm a sponge?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can't absorb something that's ethereal. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, you can. Sure you can. But he's basically trying to say like they want to have almost like service type content. They want people to be able to watch a Superman movie, go play a Superman game is the way I took it. So he didn't go all the way. He like cut himself off. He says, "We have a Superman movie coming in a couple of years, and and it's like he caught himself and then like kind of pivoted a little bit. So anyway, I bring that up to say that they potentially could have a Superman game in development with someone. I also bring that up because it's just an interesting side note that is probably nothing, but could be something. If you probably don't remember this, but about a month ago, in the midst of all of the British CMA, Microsoft, Activision, PlayStation, Xbox fighting horseshit, in one of the legal documents that Xbox filed, they said that Sony, they believe, has a Superman exclusive game. This is what it said. The figure shows that the impact of PlayStation exclusives releases on Xbox console sales is redacted. This applies for quote unquote big titles like God of War or Superman. There has never been evidence that exclusivity of one single franchise can drive console sales redacted. So, anyway, at the time, people just kind of passed it off as lawyers not knowing video games and they really meant Spider Man. Then that's where we left it. Fast forward a month, and that's an interesting typo. Would you agree, or you think I'm reading into it?
Lawyers don't make typos in legal documents they send to the CMA.
It's how I feel.
So it's a game.
So then so then the next thing is you're saying, well, why in the hell would Microsoft or Xbox lawyers know about exclusive PlayStation games? The same reason that companies know that Pepsi knows Coke is going to come out with a new flavor in 6 months.
Right. And they also asked for documents for PlayStation. So I'm sure they read an email or a memo or something. Like it's a real thing. But also it's an interesting idea. Like
Mhm.
it makes sense to me to have movies and games close to each other because
Right.
like we talk about the synergy and of The Last of Us and the name being in the ether, it just makes sense. But
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
definitely know. They know 100%.
I agree. I think it's a better than non-zero chance that PlayStation has a Superman exclusive game. I think that door has been opened obviously by how well Insomniac has done with Spider-Man, and
Yeah.
they've shown the type of care that they can show such a beloved IP. I mean, Spider-Man doesn't get a whole lot bigger than that unless you want to talk about Batman and Superman, right? So,
No, listen, man. Batman's great. Spider-Man's fine. Fuck it. Fuck Superman, man.
so last thing about this, there apparently is a theory. If you want to, you know how I love this tinfoil hat shit. There's a theory. There's a part three to this. So if you believe that Warner Brothers is making a Superman game, if you believe that PlayStation is the company publishing it, then there's a third part of this that believes that Corey Barlog and Sony Santa Monica, the team that makes God of War, is the team behind the Superman game. Because apparently in 2019, Corey tweeted some shit about how cool it would be to make a Superman game based off like the Smallville show, like timeline or some shit like that. At the time, 4 years ago, nobody thought anything of it, thought he was just being a fucking nerd. And, you know,
That
now
that
here we
part's true.
and now here we are. So I'm not saying, I'm
That's
just
very
saying.
tinfoil. That's two tinfoil hats.
I know, man, but listen, if I'm right,
I'm gonna
then
start scaling your tinfoil theories on a scale of like 1 to 10, how many hats it is. That one's an 8. That one's
oh
really
wow.
high.
That's high,
That
huh?
one's really high.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to like start like a Excel file or like a
Hmm.
Wikipedia page with all my theories so we can come back and
Yeah,
check them.
because if we were doing like the lawyers misspelled Spider-Man tinfoil hat theory, that's a 1 hat. Like that's pretty close to being real. Like that might be maybe a
Yeah,
half a hat.
yeah. Well, listen, I want to just to put a little lead in my pencil for everybody. When I did my predicting 2023 PlayStation release schedule thing for Gaming Nexus back in December, I want to say I'm shooting at about a 50% clip, which I think is pretty good so far.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying, I don't know everything, but some things are there. Anyway, let's move on. Next nugget: South Korean company InPixel and their internal team Chrono Studio revealed a lengthy look at gameplay for their upcoming MMO action RPG called a Chrono Odyssey this week on the PlayStation blog. It's being developed on Unreal Engine 5 or PS5, and it looks absolutely incredible. And I'm not even an MMO guy really, but this still looks fucking dope. And you all need to watch it if you haven't. and hopefully it comes out this year. Next nugget, Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions released the first trailer for the upcoming Gran Turismo movie this week. The film stars Archie Madekwe, David Harbour, and Orlando Bloom, and it's hitting theaters this August. What'd you think of the trailer?
I like David Harbour, and I like Orlando Bloom. No, I think it'll be all right. The guy that the story is actually based off of, he tweeted out like basically like my family name is now immortalized. So that was pretty cool. But
Hmm.
I think it'll be all right. I mean,
I think it looks pretty sick, man.
right? I'm a little worried it's going to be campy, but
Well, I mean, of
you
course.
know, like you know what I mean. It's going to be
Yeah.
propaganda campy.
Yeah, like
Can't be
too
worse than
much.
that Lindsay Lohan Herbie Bug movie. That was terrible. So
What the fuck? Oh, I know what you're talking. I think I know what you're talking about. Uh, all right. Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 received a prequel comic on May the 6th. It is available now at comic book stores across the country, and it's coming to the Marvel Unlimited app at a later date for all you fucking nerds. Insomniac also announced that Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is available as a standalone title on PS5 for the first time. It was previously bundled with the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition or some shit. It's a $10 upgrade for those who own the original game on PS4 or $50 at full price. So just in time for that big Spider-Man 2 reveal in a couple of weeks. Indie fishing horror game Dredge revealed a post-launch content roadmap this week. Coming imminently are the additions of map markers, a photo mode, and wildlife. Later this year, boat customization will be added to the game before
nice.
story DLC releases in the fourth quarter of this year. So,
Love to customize my boat.
oh yeah, I put shrimps all over that bitch.
Fucking bass tracker.
Man, I'm gonna have a Skater 457 psi Magnum on there, 600 horses. All right, next nugget. New PlayStation Plus essential game Chivalry 2 received one of its largest updates yet this week. It's called the Raiding Party update and includes a new map, new weapon, cross-play parties, and other quality of life updates. I think you and I are going to dive into that at some point this weekend. Or not. Jesus. Website Video Games Chronicle reported that Electronic Arts announced F123 will release on June 16th for PS5. The Champions Edition will include 3 days of early access, and the story focused Breaking Point mode is making a return as well. So I think it looks pretty cool. It's finally PS5 only.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pay $90 to have it 3 days early. I can tell you
No,
that.
no, no.
Yeah,
70's fine.
there's a guy on the F1 Reddit that's complaining that the game's $70 and only a PS5 model, and then people were just murdering him like, buy a PS5. He's like, so I'm getting punished because I can't afford to buy a new console. Like, yeah, like they're showing you that the old console isn't a priority. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
man.
mean?
It's time, guys. It's time. If
Like,
you can't,
God,
I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
like things happen. People, if you can't play it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
Save
like,
$10 a
yeah,
week, man. You can I mean, like, it might take you half a year. Save $10 a week. I don't know.
$10 a week would take you a whole year. You'd be able to buy one.
I mean, I don't know if it's
That'd
that
be
important.
520.
Yeah. If it's that important. All right. Here we go. Next nugget. Capcom's president Haruhiro Sugimoto told Famitsu that the company aims to sell 10 million copies of Street Fighter 6. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it.
I'm surprised they haven't already done it.
Right. Fall Guys Season 4, called a Creative Construction, will launch on May 10th and feature the addition of a level editor for custom rounds. The PS4 version of Marvel's Midnight Suns is finally releasing on May 11th, which is also the same day the game gets its final DLC featuring X-Men's Storm. And they canceled the Switch version as well, they announced this week. So Titanfall and Jedi Survivor developer Respawn Entertainment announced they have a small team in the early stages of development on a new original IP. The team is being led by Titanfall 1 and 2 director Steve Fukuda. Studio director Vince Zampella also said he would, quote unquote, love to see a Titanfall 3 one day, although he says nothing is currently in the works. Respawn also revealed this week that dozens of Apex Legends bugs have been fixed by altering one single line of code.
Not a
Just
baby,
goes just goes to show you how fragile making a video game is.
right? They shouldn't have wrote it in Linux. First of all, that's the problem.
Yeah. Also, NetherRealm Studios released a Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary video this week, and in it was a teaser for the next game, which fans seem to think means that they are resetting the timeline of the franchise and even starting a new universe. Bungie has won a $12 million lawsuit against Destiny 2 cheat seller Mihai Claudiu Florentine. No idea. Some
That
company.
dude doesn't have $12 million.
I think it's a company.
Oh,
So they might have it.
I just thought he was Middle Eastern.
I mean, dude, that's like a mix of like Middle Eastern, French, and Italian. So that's definitely got to be a company.
Mm.
Also, Final Fantasy 16 has been banned in Saudi Arabia for including LGBTQ plus content that Square Enix refuses to change.
Do you know they offered Lionel Messi $400 million a year to play soccer there?
Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. I wonder if companies that make jerseys, I wonder if they could make a jersey and send over there to him, or if it'd be like a New York Rangers jersey by mistake or something.
Probably. Maybe they should.
Blizzard will host a live stream on May 10th to outline Diablo 4's post-launch content, including seasons, cosmetics, and how the battle pass will work. Pretty sure we know how the battle pass will work, but it's okay. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not PlayStation news per se, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer stated in an interview with Kinda Funny Games this week, quote, "We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo," end quote. He went on to say that simply making great games would not, shift the console market in a dramatic way, saying, quote, "I see commentary that if you just built great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, then all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way," end quote. I included this in here because I think it's just absolute horse shit. Like, yeah, okay. So,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, I mean, all right, two things. First of all, I respect him for doing this interview when they're just getting crushed. Secondarily, he did use the word dramatic. And while, yes, I'd agree that if one great game, because he specifically referenced Starfield, he said if we make Starfield and it's an 11 out of 10, people aren't going to just run out and buy Xboxes and sell their PS5s. That part is true, but you do have to have great games to get people into your ecosystem in the first place if you're trying to just sell them Xbox Game Pass.
Right. I
Like,
don't understand what he's saying.
yeah, like I don't fucking understand that at all. So
Yeah. Well,
I,
first of all, yeah, they're not in the business because they can't.
yeah, I also really think that this was just to put out there for regulators and lawyers who are no doubt watching and listening to what he says in regards
Mm.
to like the CMA blockage and stuff like this.
Right.
After I thought about it some more, I'm like, this dude just having this like defeatist, like poor, pitiful me shit for the people that are going to be watching this, no doubt. You know what I'm saying?
They wouldn't be trying to buy Call of Duty if that was true.
Yeah, I
And
just don't believe that.
to your point, like, well, to his point, sure, if what is it called? Starfield?
Yeah,
Yeah, that being great won't make everybody go out and buy an Xbox, but if you put together 4 or 5 Starfield level games, then it will.
right.
Like, PlayStation's shown that.
Yeah,
Like, just
it took
it's not
PlayStation a
complicated.
whole no, it took PlayStation a whole generation. Just about it took them like the entire PS4 generation, and now look at it. There's just so much inertia behind PlayStation as a brand and PS5 that because they made great games on PS4, that
Right, and then you
it's
start
almost
attracting the
impossible.
talent.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost impossible to stop at this point, and they act like they can't do that, and I just don't agree with that at all.
They have the money to do that. They could get those people, but you can't
Yeah,
just bring the talent in. The talent has to want to be there. So, like,
yeah,
they could pay everybody. Theoretically, let's say they bought everybody from PlayStation. It wouldn't necessarily work because the culture isn't the same. Like,
true.
there's a lot that goes into that, but he's completely out of. I don't know what he's drinking to say that.
Right. That's why I think it's horseshit because it makes no sense. Anyway, very little sense, I should say. Next nugget. Bungie announced that it will raise Destiny 2 season pass prices later this month from 1,000 in-game silver to 1,200 silver, which will effectively force players to spend $5 more to get a season pass. So it goes from $10 to $15.
Great. I'm glad you put that through the translator.
You're welcome. Don't ask me to do 50 million, 0.1% of 50 million, though. It's a fucker. VGC's very own Andy Robinson revealed on Twitter that a new real-time strategy Star Wars game is in development at a quote unquote big name developer, and that we won't have to wait long to find out. Maybe a PlayStation showcase. Who knows?
Well, it's not Microsoft.
I mean, for sure. Website Games Industry reported that game engine company Unity has laid off 600 more employees and closed half of its offices in a third round of layoffs in less than a year. So things aren't looking too good over there. Hogwarts Legacy was the highest grossing title in both the United States and the United Kingdom during the first quarter of this year. It has sold 15 million copies worldwide and grossed over $1 billion, according to
God
Warner Brothers
damn.
Discovery earnings reports. The game also received an update this week, which added an arachnophobia mode for people who hate spiders. So that's your mode.
Perfect.
That's for you. You can play the
That
game
is
now.
for me.
Mhm.
It's also great, like, it shows you, there was, people weren't happy about this game coming out because, you know, J.K. Rowling doesn't like the alphabet soup, but it doesn't matter, $8 billion, like,
Mm.
if shit's good, people are gonna do it, man.
That is a fair point. If you make good games, then you know I can't remember. I think it was HBO's president or something, Casey Boys. I think whoever is in charge of HBO. He said that a lot of the stuff he was asked about J.K. Rowling, I think, and the HBO, or I'm sorry, the gosh damn it, the Harry Potter
Mhm.
television series that they are making. They're restarting it or whatever. He said they asked him about J.K. Rowling and her stuff about trans people or whatever women shit, and basically he said that's a very online conversation, and we're gonna make the show. Is essentially what he said, and
Yeah, and
it is. I mean, it truly
right.
is. Twitter's not real life.
What I enjoy is that we are finally getting back to where you can actually say things in society, and people are willing to have the conversations even if they're difficult, but at least have them, because
Right.
for a while there, you couldn't even have them without people just screaming at you and
Mhm.
being Karens, so I feel like we're making some sort of a rational revolution maybe.
Perhaps. Just maybe. Also, publisher PlayOn, formerly known as Coke Media, announced that it is restructuring and laying off staff. It plans to merge Deep Silver, Prime Matter, and Ravenscourt together and will publish all titles in the future under the PlayOn brand. The company said the process will take place over a couple of years, but only a handful of positions are expected to be cut.
Sad to lose 3 good names there.
Right. Yeah, they drop all those names and keep PlayOn as the company name. Get the fuck out of here. Play on with an I too. Anyway, website Push Square reported that more than 1 million new players have played at Descenders since it arrived on the PlayStation Plus this week. Along those lines, open world RPG Chia also enjoyed 1 million players after launching day one on PlayStation Plus. The first massive Saints Row DLC and update releases next week. It includes, or this week now, at the time you're listening to this, it includes the game's first story expansion, an overhauled combat system, photo mode, and an entirely new city district, among many other changes. A new PS5 firmware update quietly fixed an issue with texture streaming for certain PS4 games when playing in backwards compatibility. Most notably was Shadow of the Colossus. First person shooter Atomic Heart has teased its first DLC pack, which will be dropping sometime this summer. Returnal developer and PlayStation studio Housemarque has grown to 110 staff members, up from 80 at the time that it was acquired by PlayStation. They are currently at work on a mystery game. So they're all staffing up all the PlayStation studios.
A mystery game, or like the game's a mystery?
The game is a mystery. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
A PS5 version of immersive sim RPG Weird West was announced this week. It will feature 4K and 60 frames per second, and it's releasing on May the 8th, so the day this podcast comes out, right? Yes. Thank you. That's how calendars work, kids. The PS4 version of Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters has helped push it to more than 2 million copies sold worldwide. Sonic Frontiers has now sold more than 3.2 million copies, so prepare for more Sonic. And along those lines, Sony is the first game console manufacturer to sell 500 million home consoles. When removing handhelds from the equation, of course, if you do include handhelds, Nintendo sits at a whopping 833 million sold. Jesus Christ.
I bet they have pretty good games on those 2 different systems.
Yeah, exactly. You know, who needs to sell consoles though? Story-driven first-person sci-fi RPG The Invincible released 10 minutes of new gameplay this week. If you're interested, it's coming to PS5 later this year. Survival horror game The Tartarus Key will release for PS4 on May 31st. Open world racer Lego 2K Drive revealed this week that its Drive Pass, which is a battle pass, will not put a time limit on on how long you have to earn each season's content. Once a season drops, you can progress through it at your own pace without having to worry about missing anything, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. First person shooter World War One horror game Amnesia the Bunker shared 10 minutes of gameplay this week. If you're interested, I think you would be interested if it wasn't scary.
How scary is it? Are there spiders?
Fuck, man, I don't know. It looks pretty bad to me.
Great.
NBA star Kevin Durant will be coming to both Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 as a playable character on May the 10th. And I also forgot that he played for the Phoenix Suns now, so that was good to know. The Final Fantasy 16 PS5 console bundle can be pre-ordered now if you've been waiting for that.
What about Saudi Arabia?
Except for in Saudi Arabia. An alleged GameStop employee leaked that Assassin's Creed Mirage is releasing in August, according to their marketing materials. This, of course, is in line with what insider Tom Henderson has previously reported as well.
Why is he an alleged employee? What does that mean?
Well, he got on Reddit and said, I'm a GameStop employee. Yeah.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah. And just say that, hey, I see in our marketing materials that PlayStation has a Superman game releasing in November.
Right.
Hogwarts Legacy developer Avalanche Software appears to be staffing up for the next AAA game, presumed to be a sequel to the smash hit blockbuster. And that's probably something that you can do after you make $1 billion and sell 15 million copies, I would say.
They might let him make 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree. As I referenced earlier, HBO's The Last of Us adaptation is now averaging around 32 million viewers per episode on the HBO Max app. And in fact, in Europe and Latin America, it is the most watched HBO Max show of all time in Europe and Latin America.
That means that our boy Pedro is one of the most popular actors in the world right now.
That's correct.
And that's crazy. Remember when he was just a little tyke and we were watching him on Narcos?
Yes. 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 Totally forgot about that. He's good in that show too.
Oh, he's great. He's great in everything. He's never been bad.
Yeah, I agree. Also, in other The Last of Us news, the original game has been inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame this week.
Can we visit that? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Can we go to that?
I'll have to look it up. I know that it became a thing in 2015. That's all I can tell you. But I don't know if it physically has a place. But also, Fortnite has officially become an Olympic esport, Travis. So if Gran Turismo doesn't work out for you, you can try Fortnite.
Oh, God. Okay, first of all, neither will work out for me.
Oh.
But Gran Turismo Esport Olympics is live this week. You can put in your time trials.
Oh, are you going to do it? You can be an Olympic athlete?
Yeah, I'm just doing it to say I'm an Olympic athlete. I don't expect to even be in the top 1,000.
If you take it seriously, maybe they'll make a Gran Turismo movie about you one day. You can be in like Gran Turismo 12.
Can you imagine that movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
I would make sure they got all my farts in.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm doing 200 miles an hour. I just shit my pants. All right. Free-to-play Windjammer style game Omega Strikers is available now on PS5, and it's coming eventually to PS4 as well. PS Plus subscribers can get access to all playable characters immediately with no need to unlock them. And Jacob and I have been playing that a little bit this week. It's pretty good. Pretty good. It's definitely worth checking out if you like Windjammers style shit. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that if the British CMA's blockage of the Microsoft Activision merger is upheld, the acquisition will be blocked for a period of 10 years, meaning that Microsoft could not approach the company again for purchase until after that time. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Hog Leg, Horizon Forbidden West, Dead by Daylight, Fortnite, and Dauntless. It's a small list this week. Sony Interactive Entertainment revealed as a part of their financial reporting that we discussed last week that they would be reducing its investment budget by about $1.5 billion and reallocating that cash directly into its PlayStation gaming division. In other words, they're going to spend the money on the studios that they already own instead of in other outside investments. It's probably a good move. Sounds like they're going to ramp up some more staff. The Lord of the Rings Gollum will take players around 20 hours to complete during a relaxed playthrough.
How quick for an unrelaxed playthrough? I want to just fucking sweating, gritting teeth. You can do it in about 7.
Yeah, that you can get in about 7 if you just bust balls. Website Gamatsu reported that action adventure game Daydream Forgotten Sorry do what? Will launch for PS4 and PS5 on May 24th. Metroidvania action RPG Scoutfold Usurper. Scoutfold Usurper. The second in a 5-game series will release on PS4 and PS5 on June 23rd. I think it's actually June 22nd, but whatever. Convergence, a League of Legends story, will launch for PS4 and PS5 on May 23rd. Social thriller Inescapable No Rules, No Rescue will launch for PS4 and PS5 sometime this fall. First-person turn-based dungeon crawler Monu, defeat monsters and gain strong weapons and armor. You may be defeated, but don't give up. Become stronger. I believe there will be a day when the heroes defeat the Devil King. Will launch for PS5 this fall
What are you
in North
fucking
America
reading?
and Europe. That is literally the fucking name of the game, and I could not wait to read this for you. That's the entire name of the game. And if you look up the game box art, if you look up the game box art, it says Monu real big, and then in like fucking 6-point font, it says the rest of that shit. The entire name of the game.
That's so stupid.
That has to be a world record for the longest
God
video
damn
game
it.
name ever. Oh, brilliant. Also, arcade baseball game Super Mega Baseball 4 was announced for PS4 and PS5. It is releasing on June the 2nd from EA.
I gotta go back to that last one. At one point I thought
I knew this would
you
be
were
a
just
mindfuck.
trying to see. I thought you were just trying to see if I was paying attention.
Were you?
Yeah, because when you said Monu defeat monsters, and then when you said and gain strong weapons, I went, "What the fuck is this?" Like, because it's a run on and gain strong weapons and armor. You may be
It is.
defeated. Who are you talking to? Like,
I was dying when I read this. I had the biggest shit-eating grin on my face when I was typing this week, because I was like, Travis is gonna fucking love this.
what's the equivalent? Like
Hmm?
Madden 23. You may get drafted, you may not. You could lose a game in the Super Bowl, but you'll get a big salary cap. Like, what are they talking about?
you could tear your knee, you could live the rest of your life as a vegetable. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
next nugget. Puzzle game Grindstone Shadow dropped on the PS4 and PS5 this week. It is currently 20% off of its normal $20 price tag until May the
Oh,
16th.
great.
And in
So it's
fact,
$18.
yeah, in fact, it's actually not 20% off at the moment. They're having
Uh-huh.
they're having some type of problem with the PlayStation Store, so they're working that out.
Of course they are.
Sounds like they need to grind it out. Anyway, Publisher Modus, we're getting off the fucking rails. Publisher Modus Games announced Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons. They made Breathe Fire. No, I'm teasing. It's it's called Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons for PS4 and PS5. It is the first new title in the franchise since 2017's Arc System Works developed Double Dragon 4, almost said 14. The Double Dragon IP first debuted all the way back in 1987. And this looks pretty dope. And it's not going to have online co-op at launch, but it's going to be added later this year. And it's got guns and shit. Anyway, it looks cool.
That's interesting.
Also, horror action game Shadow Man Dark Legacy with a Q and a U and an E was announced for PS4 and PS5, but no release date was given. Narrative adventure game Harmony, The Fall of Reverie from Don't Nod will launch for PS5 on June 22nd. And finally, Travis, Gamatsu reported that publisher Microids will bring rail shooter Operation Wolf Returns First Mission VR to PSVR 2 on June 22nd. And that looks kind of neat, potentially. And that's all for the news this week. And I'll turn it over to Travis now for this week's new games.
On May the 1st, you have Stroke the Beaver, which I looked up. It is a platinum grab, and you pet a beaver. It's $4. I'm tempted.
You're definitely going to do it.
I just want people to see a platinum is a stroke the beer makes me happy. We also have Super Kids Racing Snow Edition. On the second, we have Age of Wonders 4, which wasn't what I thought it would be. Arcade Archives Tecmo Night, Omega Strikers, The Trap Winter. May the 4th, we have AFL 23, which is Australian Rules Football. Between Time Escape Room, Bubble Monsters, Rocket Swing, Space Gladiators, Weeping Willow, which is Will Smith's daughter crying. It's like 20 hours long.
Hmm.
May the 5th is Death of Treat and Hogwarts Legacy on PS4.
Yeah, perfect. Really pretty inconsequential week. Hog Leg on PS4 if you are still on PS4 for some reason. Age of Wonders 4, kind of a big one for us, like real time strategy, like city building nerds or whatever. Omega Strikers, like I said, very cool. Check that out. It's a free to play game. I've seen anecdotally on Twitter that the Australian folks, our mates down under, are not very pleased with the AFL 23 game. So there's that. And yeah, so that's all for the new games this week. And we'll start to wrap the show up here like we always do by discussing what we've been playing and anything that we're looking forward to. What's on your mind?
I fooled around on Gran Turismo for a little bit, but I didn't like any of the races. They didn't feel very good, so I didn't do much there. Messed around on the PGA Tour. I think I'm in the middle of a round. I don't remember.
Oh, you can save in the middle of a round?
Yeah, like you play. Well, I think I'm in the middle of a tournament.
Oh, I see.
I don't remember where I am, but I got the last tournament I finished. I was in 32nd going into the last round, and I ended up shooting a 61. Like I just got super hot, and it was like I birdied like 10 holes in a row. I don't know what the hell happened. I was making everything. I made in like 2 or 3 chips. It was wild, and I ended up finishing second because I was so far behind I couldn't catch up. But I ended up finishing second. I think in this one I'm like tied for first in the second round, but my short game and my accuracy are like all the way maxed out. My putting's almost maxed out. I put nothing into driving or power, like at all. I'm not really sure how
Why
much better I
not?
can get because I was having no problem hitting the fairway
Oh,
and I was still hitting it like 300 yards every time. And I was like, that's fine. Like I can, if my approach is all the way up, I should be fine. Then we played some Battlefield
hmm,
last night and the other night. I've been thinking about switching my sniper back to the what is it, the NWS 50?
yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I was playing with the SW10 and it was like it was weird. It's like I couldn't figure out where my bullets were missing, but I wasn't hitting anybody, but I couldn't figure out if I was high or low. I couldn't it was I don't know, it was really weird.
Yeah.
Couldn't figure that one out. I've been using the RM68 and the SCAR. I killed a guy last night and ran out of ammo and I picked up his gun. He had the what is it, the AM24 or whatever it's called?
Uh, the
AW24. I don't know.
the new like SMG type thing or whatever.
I can't remember. It's some sort of assault rifle.
Oh, the like the AK type of thing.
Yeah, and he had
Yeah, it's good.
like a hollow scope. What is it
Hmm.
called? Anyway, but it was also thermal.
Oh,
That was really cool. I'd
yeah.
never seen it before, but I enjoyed that. And then, of course, got into a vehicle and died with you like 2 times immediately. So pretty much par for the course. Yeah, I want to go back to that sniper. See if I can't. See if I can't do any better with it because I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm curious if the update messed with the sniping and I have to relearn it, or if it's just the gun sucks. I don't know.
Yeah, they did change something with like it's called universal weapon aiming. I don't know what that means, but they changed it to where it defaults to on now. So that could have done something, but
I have no idea what that is. Okay.
me either. But it's there. You might Google it or Twitter it. Yeah, played Battlefield 2042, like you said. I feel like I had a pretty good week or a couple nights. Let's see. Did we just play last night? I guess we did.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think we just played it last night because Wednesday you fell asleep on the couch, you said. So yeah, we played it last night. I think had a pretty good run. I was playing as an engineer and I feel like I had a couple good kills that I took highlights of. So anyway, nothing really new to report.
I've been using the guy with the turret.
Yeah, me too.
I
Boris.
enjoy that.
Yeah, Boris.
By the way, I found a video of a guy. It might have been Flak Fire,
Uh-huh.
Fire Flak. He was talking about like there is a reported this is like, because John always shoots down shit with a tank that's flying. There is like a reported tank shooting down a plane in World War II where they like rolled up on a crest, they missed the first shot, the second shot hit the wing, and the plane it just disintegrated in the air. And I was like,
I
that
love
was
that.
John before he died.
That's right.
Got reincarnated.
Yes, because he fucking does it all the time. Speaking of Battlefield, was it you that sent me the thing where there's like the hidden shit where you can go like push a button and get like the fucking gun on that certain map, like a drone gun?
Yes.
Forgot all about that. We need to check that out. It's on
I
Air.
forgot
It's
about
on
that too.
Air. It's on Erica Harbor. Yeah, how could I forget? Okay. Anyway, also played a little bit more Dead Island 2 co-op with Jacob. Got a really cool legendary shotgun revolver thing. Pretty sick. Anyway, not too much of that. We also dabbled in very briefly Gauntlet Slayer Edition. He wanted to try that out, so it was. I think it was on PS Plus Extra or something. Download that. It is average. Not like nothing like Gauntlet on N64 back in the day. That was the tits. And then played some Omega Strikers. Like I said, very cool game. It's like I said, it's like a mix of like Windjammers and like soccer in a way. It's pretty cool. The different characters have different abilities and stuff. So, and then the last thing that I played was today. Earlier today, I finally played Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. Started it for the first time. So just early days in that getting started. Don't really know how long it's supposed to be. Haven't really looked it up. I guess I will. But the bad thing about playing a DLC for a game that came out a year ago is like I've totally forgot how to play. Like totally forgot how to play. Forgot what does what, all that shit. And I just want to remind everyone that we did this to ourselves. Like the royal we. As gamers, we complained for years about games that would launch and have day one DLC and add-ons that you could buy. And so all these studios quit doing it. And instead they started releasing shit, 6, 8, 10, 12 months after the fact. Way after you give a fuck about the game anymore, way after you're done playing it. And then now here we are, we have to wait for DLC for a year, and then you don't remember what the fuck's going on. You don't remember how to play it. And we just didn't know how good we had it. We didn't know what we wanted back then. And we felt like we were getting cheated when the reality was probably most of the time that was they made the core game and then they had probably like a little side team internally at studios were like, hey, we want to do like a little 4-hour DLC for this. And then that's what the day one DLC was. So we just didn't know at the time. We were naive. And now we got to deal with this shit. So anyway, very beautiful game. Horizon Forbidden West looks so God, it looks so good. I completely understand why PlayStation wants some of its teams to use the Decima engine. It's incredible. I've got some screenshots already, of course. So I'll keep going with that. And in terms of what I'm looking forward to some Lego 2K Drive. Still a couple more weeks on that, and I'm hoping that PlayStation will finally shit or get off the pot here soon and schedule a showcase for us. So that's about it. But it's it for me. It's it for Travis. It's it for the show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to get a new episode delivered every Monday right to your feed, wherever that might be. Also, if you can leave us a like, a rating, a review, a comment, thumbs up, all that stuff, hearts, stars, it's very helpful. We'd also appreciate if you could share us with a friend or a loved one who you think might enjoy the show and getting PlayStation news every week in less than 90 minutes. Don't forget to find us on social media. We're on Twitter at the DualSense Pod, Instagram, Facebook. Our website is the DualSense Podcast.wordpress.com, and we'd love to hear from you and chat some PlayStation. So hit us up there, and we'll get out of here. You guys take care. Have a great week, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.